As promised, joining me from Wakulla County, Commissioner Ralph Thomas. Commissioner, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm okay, but here's the question. What's going on down there?
Well, a lot of stuff in Wakulla County.
Commissioner, I've received emails. Some folks are very concerned, and I know that you are among the commissioners that voted to reflect the concern of a lot of the residents out there. But just to kind of put some perspective for our listeners that may not be aware what we're talking about, apparently in Wakulla County, as is the case in every county, but in Wakulla you've decided to deal with it. You've had some homes, some properties that have maybe been a little run down, had some code violations. Is that kind of the starting point for this?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's quite a few on the books and have been there for a while, and those fines can accrue quite quickly. And so, a proposal came forward to start foreclosure action on some of these properties. And, I believe our job is about budgets and about ordinances, but at the end of the day, it's really about people, and it's about the people that we represent in this county.
Wouldn't it just make a lot of sense to just place a lien on the property if the fines get so substantial that you feel the need to foreclose? Was there consideration or discussions of some step before that?
Actually, the liens have been in place for some time. The problem is if the violation continues, the meter keeps running effectively. So we have some properties that are in excess of $50,000, and this one in particular that you're concerned with is over $25,000, and that's just simply fines. So I guess that some of the board felt it was important to move forward and try to capture some of that money.
Now, you, if I understand, and another commissioner, Richard Harden, did not vote in favor of foreclosure. Is that an accurate report?
That is correct. In this one particular case, this gentleman is disabled. This piece of property is all he has in the world. And, at the end of the day, we've got to realize there's real human beings that are going to be impacted by these decisions.
So tell us kind of the process here. You had a county commission meeting. Was there any reluctance on the part of the other three commissioners? Or do they share your opinion? They just felt like this was the only step left? Or is it maybe a little deeper than that?
Well, there wasn't a lot of discussion. I'm sure every commissioner, their heart goes out for the individual. I think they're trying to find something that's more clinical and treating everyone fairly and taking the emotions and the specific circumstances out of it. And I have a hard time doing that. Every case is unique, and I think we need to look at that. And I actually made a proposal that I think that we can head these things off going forward.
How so?
The focus has been on letting the fines accrue and let the lien eventually take care of it, and then the option of foreclosing, just like that we're doing now. I think we need to head that off a little quicker. I think we need to help folks get the cleanup taken care of, stop the meter from running so the fines do not continue to accrue. And ultimately, I'm a fiscal conservative, so I'm not wanting to put this cost on the back of taxpayers. But I proposed where we can go in as the county, let's clean this thing up, and then we'll do a voluntary assessment on the property, very similar to when our citizens agree to have a road paved. We can assess their property, and they can pay it back through taxes. So in this way, the county may put a little money up front to get it cleaned up, but ultimately the neighbors are going to benefit from that, and we're going to get all the money back through the taxes.
Wakulla County Commissioner Ralph Thomas with me for a few minutes this morning on the morning show, talking about the county's decision to go ahead and foreclose on properties that have outstanding liens and fines. Give us an example, a couple of examples real quickly, Commissioner, of the types of eyesores we're talking about. What's happening on these properties?
Well, a lot of these properties have years of accumulated debris, sometimes old vehicles, things like that. And in many of these cases, the property owners are fully willing to clean it up, but many times they're not physically or financially able to do it. We've got a lot of folks that are just financially strapped and make very little income. There are families, I can show you plenty of people that make $600 a month in Social Security, and that's all they make. And often these people are homebound and they don't have vehicles. And so really this is a situation, and I'd like to elaborate a little bit more of another plan we've got going on to have the community come in and help. And, if our churches and our community will come in and step up to the plate and help, which they are in this case, and I'd like to give you an example, then that's less the government has to come in and do for our citizens.
Kind of a cleanup day.
Absolutely. We've got that planned a week from this Saturday on the 22nd. And I'd like to say that Pastor Hall with the Sopchoppy United Methodist Church is kind of leading that effort, and Commissioner Harden, the other person that voted against it, he's the one that really brought all this thing to light. And so we've got that coming together, and we just hope that the community will help us out with that. And just let's come out there and let's clean up. Waste Pro has donated a dumpster for us at no charge. So these pieces are already starting to come together. Keep Wakulla County Beautiful has jumped in on board with this, and so the community is stepping forward, and I'm just encouraged that we're going to be able to basically stop this foreclosure proceeding.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this one of those deals where the county will be practical about it and say, okay, we've got the desired outcome, let's roll back and stop the foreclosure proceedings? Or once those things are filed, can you call it back?
No, it can stop up to the very last minute, and I'm just hopeful and confident that will happen. Obviously, Commissioner Harden and myself are along those lines, and I believe if we can solve the problem, the other commissioners will be as well.
Well, Commissioner, I appreciate your time. Thanks for explaining it, and well done. You guys seem to be trying to manage this situation pretty well, and I think on behalf of the folks out there in Wakulla County, you're doing a good job.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much and appreciate your service to our community.
Hey, thank you. Wakulla County Commissioner Ralph Thomas with us this morning. Without sounding patronizing to locals, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Just solve the problem. And how interesting is it that you had the elected leaders working with the faith-based community and saying, okay, look, we see, to me now, this is how you solve a problem. These folks can't do this. They don't have the resources. We can whine about it and steal their property, and we can be legally entitled, or we can just do the right thing and solve the problem. I like that. Isn't that governance? Isn't that kind of the way it's supposed to work? Solve the problem. See, if the point is solving the problem, and you don't, who was it that said, as long as you don't care who gets credit, you can do a lot of good things. And if the commissioners don't dig their heels in and they just say, okay, look, the point is to clean the property. That's what we wanted all along. The property's clean. Okay? Does it matter how it got done? What do you think of the idea of trying to get ahead of it, saying, okay, if it starts to become a problem, we'll just, we'll work with the homeowner, we'll take care of it, and then we'll assess them the fees to take care of it on their property tax bill or whatever the case might be. You okay with that? I think I'm okay with that. I mean, in certain settings. Now, if you're out there and you're making a living and you're just choosing to screw your money away and whatever on things that you shouldn't be doing over your responsibilities. I know that there's some people that say, well, it's Wakulla County. That's why you move in Wakulla County. It's your land. You can do what you want with it. But it would appear as though that owning land has certain requirements. We're not talking about covenants and restrictions as far as the design of your home and the direction that your garage faces, but we are talking about requirements to not – you got to be permitted to have a junkyard, right? Shouldn't you?
I don't know about a permitting process, but what I would say is that they have to get this to where they have they do this one time. They do it once, it's over.
If you have to come back, then you're going to lose your property?
If this becomes a repetitious problem, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. Interesting. Also interesting is just paying attention to how different governing boards do what they do. And maybe this is just the nature of Wakulla County versus Leon County. Now, Leon County, I've got to give them credit on one of the big issues of late, the whole waste collection in the unincorporated area. A lot of credit goes to the county. That was really good governing. They listened to people. They didn't say, well, a majority of. They said, no, this will affect these people. Let's find a solution for these people. And if you take a little bit more of an approach of let's solve the problem, You can oftentimes just do the right thing, which is very exciting. As someone that covers the actions of political bodies, legislative, elected bodies on a local, state, and national level, this is very refreshing. And hopefully the three commissioners that voted for the foreclosure proceedings will say, okay, mission accomplished. We got what we wanted done. We don't need to make a point here. We've got some awareness of the issue, solved the problem, and then I think, like you say, you put a policy in place that, like the Commissioner Thomas was talking about, let's put a policy in place that doesn't allow this to creep back up. Let's nip it. You know what this goes back to?
Nip it in the bud, Andy.
And you just gotta nip it in the bud. I'm all for bud nipping. As we go here, we're finding that and I know my friend Gary Linton would agree, that the logic, the wit, the wisdom of one Barney Fife really does come into play more and more. Bud nipping. Very, very solid logic. It's 10 minutes away from the top of the hour, the morning show with Preston.